Okay guys, it is 9 a.m. exactly. I am going to give you a quick update and then I'm going to get right to work finishing this chapter and sending it to my supervisor in the next hour. That is all the time I'm giving myself to do this. Sometimes you just need to get it done. And so that is what we're doing this morning. And there's a 10 a.m. cutoff because I have a meeting at noon and I want to go for a run. I am so excited. The weather has been beautiful for the past week or so. My motivation to run has been very high. And then this morning I discovered that Cody Train's YouTube channel is back. I don't know if you watch that, but if you are into ultra marathons especially, then you should watch Cody Trains with Cody Co.
Hello, I'm back, baby.
And Better Ideas YouTube channel is back. He's a Canadian YouTuber that talks about just having a better life.
If you can't do it right, don't do it at all. I hear this phrase and phrases like it thrown around a lot.
And he hasn't been posting for 3 months, but now he's back, and those are two super motivational YouTube channels for me, and so I am ready to get it today. I've got my coffee, my breakfast. I think that's where I went wrong recently. I've been really unmotivated, and you know what? I think part of it is I gave up coffee, and we're just gonna quit that. We're gonna quit quitting coffee, and we're gonna get that caffeine intake first thing in the morning. Yeah, that's good. So I'm gonna sip my coffee, I'm gonna eat my breakfast because I cannot run without having eaten breakfast. And then I'm gonna send my chapter to my supervisor, and then I'm going on a sweet little run. Not too far because I've run a lot in the past week because the weather has been so nice and I don't want to destroy myself, but I'm stoked to be running again. It just fires me up. So let's get it. Doing it. I submitted my chapter to my supervisor just before this run, and now I'm out in the forest and it's 17 degrees Celsius and I am having a great day. It's gonna be a great season, guys. Stoked for us. All right, let's get back to the running. Today. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, those two clips were so high energy. I'm exhausted just watching them back. I will say though, it's 2 weeks later and my energy is still quite high. I am still being quite productive. I took about a week off of working on my dissertation because I had to do a bunch of end of term grading, but for about the past week, I have been working diligently on the PhD every single day. I think I've realized that my favorite part of doing the PhD is the part when you are just about to write. When you know enough about what you're going to write that reading and researching is very targeted and feels very productive all of the time, and the notes that you're making on that research are very specific to what you're about to write, and you're assembling them. It's like this puzzle that you're solving as you read, and I find that aspect very fulfilling. So if I could just not do the lead-up research and then not do the writing, I would just be very happy all the time. But unfortunately, you cannot make a career off of that, so eventually I'm gonna have to leave the sort of reading and re-researching phase and note-taking and go back into the writing of my third chapter this time. I'm skipping the writing of my second chapter because I think I have the strongest grasp on it, and the contents of my third chapter I'm actually going to be presenting at a conference next month, so I definitely want to make sure that that is written and I'm familiar enough with the concepts that I can articulate them to a bunch of other people in my field, which is honestly not something I do very often. There are a couple of things that have helped me keep my productivity and energy and emotional levels high over the past week because usually they take a dive after I have submitted something. I used to be quite a perfectionist, which basically meant that I was afraid of receiving feedback from others. And so I would work on something until it was absolutely perfect so that it was maybe above criticism. But of course, I think we know that's impossible. There's always room for improvement. And so I wouldn't submit anything. And if I did submit something, I would get very anxious and stressed and not be able to work for like a good period after submitting that thing. And I've mostly recovered from that now. Posting here on YouTube has really helped me in this respect because I don't know if you've noticed, but none of my YouTube videos are perfect. I'm not even sure they're very good, but thank you for being here anyway. That's very kind of you. So in the past week, how have I kept my productivity high? Honestly, it's been from reaching outwards, not going inwards into my emotions. So one thing is that I immediately set up a meeting with 3 of my friends, and that's coming up this Saturday. And the plan is I am going to present to them what I have for my 3rd chapter so far, and I am going to see what points of confusion there are for them, see what questions they still have of me, and then see what feedback they have from me considering their respective fields. One of them is very interested in accessibility studies, one of them is very interested in environmental studies, and one of them I know has some background in music theory and is also just very passionate about juggling and performance art in general. So none of them are in my field, but I'm very good friends with each of them, and I trust each of them to give me strong, critical feedback in the kindest way possible. So I'm meeting with them in about 5 days, and I'm looking forward to that. It's kept my motivation high because I need to make sure I have something prepared for them to make their time and my time worthwhile. That's one thing that I'm doing to make sure that I continue working after submitting a chapter. The second thing kind of fell into my lap. My brother, who you sort of saw in the previous clip because he was filming me running and then running alongside me, he decided he wanted to try an experiment where we write down our goals for the next 3 months, and then we try to see if we can fit all of them into a single month. So of course I said over the next 3 months I would like to finish these next 2 chapters, and then the question becomes, how can I work harder or work smarter to fit that work into a single month? We both know that realistically we're probably not going to do 3 months worth of work in a single month, but we're gonna try, and that trying has kept my energy and motivation levels high. And then the final thing that I have done to remove some of my typical anxiety after submitting a chapter is read the book Chatter, The Voice in Our Head, Why It Matters and How to Harness It by Ethan Kross. There's the book. It's an incredible book. I just finished it this morning, and at the end he lists all of the tools that you can put in your chatter-free toolbox. And of course sometimes chatter can be a good thing, like when we're hyping ourselves up, so I'm trying to harness chatter in my life right now as I progress on the PhD, but I'm also trying to quell the typical anxiety chatter that comes with submitting something to my supervisor. And I'll just give you one big example from this book of how to do that, which is to reframe your experience as a challenge. Chatter is often triggered when we interpret a situation as a threat, something we can't manage. To aid your inner voice, reinterpret the situation as a challenge that you can handle. So that's one thing that I'm doing. Sometimes I will look ahead and see how much more work I have to do on my PhD, and that feels threatening and scary and like an unsolvable puzzle, an immovable obstacle. So I'm trying to reframe that difficulty as a challenge, kind of like I would with running, like taking on a marathon. You're not going to run a marathon if you're just terrified of running that far. You have to treat it as a challenge that you're excited to embark on, and you're going to enjoy every second of the journey. And so I'm trying to reframe the PhD in my mind like that. Some other things that I find useful from this book are to use distance self-talk. So I will tell myself when I'm getting anxious, Morgan, you can do this. Morgan, let's go. So I distance myself from myself to get that kind of advice, which is similar to another tool, which is imagine advising a friend on this issue. And there's so many tools in this book, so I can't go through them all, but if you do want a quick snapshot of them so that you know what is inside this book, it actually is featured on the app Shortform, which is a book summary app, and I have a discount affiliate link to Shortform in the description box below, so if you want to check out the summary for this book, but also many others, especially nonfiction books, then you can check out that link. And it's not just book summaries either, it also gives you things like worksheets so that you can gain deeper access into the book. It compares each book with other similar books, and it will kind of fact check the books. So it'll kind of see where the author is misleading you with the science. So I'm definitely going to go check out the short form summary for this book now that I've finished it, so I can get an even deeper understanding of how to use the tools that Ethan Kross is offering. And I know a lot of you are in PhDs in the humanities or masters or finished PhDs, and some of you have overlapping interests with me, so I'll tell you what I'm reading lately for my PhD, just in case that's the case and you want to talk about it in the comment section below. I did just begin Elizabeth Freeman's book Time Binds, which is about queer temporalities, and it introduces the idea of chrononormativity, which gets discussed a lot if you're reading about temporality in feminist studies and in performance studies. I'm also almost finished the book Feminist Queer Crip by Alison Kafer, which was the first book to really define the term crip time, which is why I was reading the book, and that first chapter on time was the most helpful for me personally. And then I also just read the introduction to a book called Performance and Temporalization, which was a great little introduction to the idea of temporality and how it differs from time, and what the Western philosophical lineage is on time and temporality. I'm not going to read that whole book because it is an anthology of essays, but there are maybe 5 or 6 essays that could be interesting to me, so I'll definitely give those a scan. If you're in theater and performance studies or an adjacent field, I would love to hear what you're reading in the comment section below, or feel free to just comment motivation for everybody else, because the comment sections under these videos I just find so loving and so motivational and so supportive to me, but also each other. I love when you guys comment on each other's comments, giving advice or support. So please continue to do that. It's why I keep making these videos, so if you want to see more of these videos, then talk to each other in the comment section below, I guess. And that's all for now. I hope it is sunny and warm in your part of the world, and I'll see you in another video again soon. Bye, everybody!